The hollow pause beneath. Part 2. The buried don't bark alone. The rain returned days later, smearing the sky with gunmetal grey. Esther stood by the window of the veterinary clinic, watching droplets roll down the glass like slow-moving ghosts. She hadn't slept well. Each night, the rustling grew louder behind her father's barn. Not just the wind. There were scratching sounds, almost rhythmic against the rotted wood near the cemetery gate. That morning, as she made her rounds, she noticed the clinic's back door slightly ajar. She knew she'd locked it. Inside, nothing looked disturbed except for a single muddy paw print on the linoleum floor. She knelt beside it. The shape was off. Not quite dog, not quite cat. That afternoon, her father finally spoke of the cemetery. "Buried too much back there," he muttered, while fixing the old light over the front porch. "Not just animals. Grief, secret, it poisons the ground." Esther pressed him. "Buys." But he only looked at her, then the woods, then back at the clinic. "Don't dig. Let it rot in peace." She ignored him. That night she walked out with a flashlight and boots, heart pounding as the beam cut through the mist. The cemetery gate groaned open. The rows of crude wooden crosses and rusted nameplates stared back. Then she heard it. Bark, horse, wet from below. She dropped the flashlight. Light spun, strobing a patch of upturned dirt behind the oldest marker. Butch, 1956 to 1962. Her childhood dog. Bah! The ground bulged. Esther froze. The dirt trembled, then cracked. A tiny paw reached out gray, slick with clay. Its nails were broken, fur clotted with earth. She screamed and fled, nearly tripping, as she ran back to the clinic. She slammed the door shut, breathing in panic. Inside, the air had changed. She heard growling, faint, coming from the kennels. Dear. There were no animals currently boarded. One by one, the metal doors clanged open. She gripped a scalpel from the counter. The lights flickered. Shadows moved just beyond the threshold. From the hallway came the slow shuffle of pads on tile, and a voice high, breathy whispered, "Come back, Moon. You left us morning." Her father didn't believe her, said she was tired, imagining things, but he didn't look her in the eye. She checked the cemetery again. The mound over Butch's grave was undisturbed, but a faint trail of tiny prints led from it to the edge of the trees and back. At the diner, the waitress, Loretta, leaned in close. "You're not the first to hear things. To sense. The old vet, the one before your daddy, tried to shut it all up, tried to bless it, salt it. Didn't take. You know why?" Esther shook her head. "Because it ain't a haunting. It's a gathering." That night she dreamed of cages rattling and tails thumping like war drums. Of animals with empty eyes crawling from the mud, pews of voices layered over one another, mewling and barking in a terrible chorus. She awoke to find claw marks across her bedroom window. 3 days passed. A child from town went missing. Jimmy Wheeler, a boy who used to leave bones at the cemetery fence, claiming it helped his dog dream louder. The town organized a search. Esther went back to the cemetery alone. She found his slingshot, half buried beside Butch's grave. A small set of footprints circled the tombstones. They stopped in front of a sunken patch near the center. She began to dig. Her hands trembled. The dirt was moist. As she peeled it away, she uncovered not one coffin but dozens, stacked haphazardly beneath the surface. Some rotted, some freshly sealed. Inside the topmost box lay not an animal, but a child's doll, its eyes sewn shut, its mouth stuffed with fur. Behind her, twigs snapped. She turned. Breathe. The trees pulsed in the windless air. Between their trunks stood silhouettes and animal shapes, moving like men. Their eyes gleamed, red, glassy, hollow. They stepped forward. She backed away toward the gate when one of them spoke, in a voice like a man imitating a dog. "We remember you, Esther. You fed us. You loved us, now love us still." The ground beneath her cracked. She fell below. She landed hard in blackness on soft soil. Prosh. She was inside a chamber, a crawl space. Coffins lined the walls like library shelves. And in the center, a table of bones. Atop it, something stirred. Beast stitched together fur, flesh, and teeth. It wore a collar. Her name was engraved on the tag. "Welcome home," it growled. She screamed, backing away into the dark. The walls pulsed with breath. A heartbeat echoed through the soil. Pah! She climbed some more, back through a narrow shaft, coughing, grasping roots and rocks. When she burst from the earth, night had fully fallen. The cemetery was empty. The graves had vanished. Only the clinic stood in the distance, its windows flickering like eyes.